Weslaco ISD is live on the air, and you are taking a look at our softball field at Weslaco High School, and then also the baseball field is right there at Weslaco High School. Both of those fields looking beautiful, looking nice. The softball team will be on the road in Laredo, whereas the baseball team will be taking part in a baseball game there. A very important baseball game will take place later on this week on Friday. So there's just a nice aerial shot of both of our fields. It's about 83 degrees right now here in Weslaco. I know it's partly cloudy. I know we're expecting a little bit of rain. Hello, everybody. Carlos Roberto along with Mike Gonzalez for another edition of WISD Live, and we're glad to be here to talk about all the good things that are taking place and the opportunities for your kids here at WISD. Mike, how's it going? Are you excited? I know summer is just around the corner, only about 3.5 more weeks left of school.
One more month, Carlos, left of school. I know the students are excited. I'm sure the teachers are excited. And I mean, we're excited because we have graduation right around the corner. We have ceremonies that are coming up as well. It's going to be very, very busy for us, but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, hard to believe that a whole school year is just about over, and we'll be doing it again, the 2018 in September. But let's finish out and tell everybody what's going on here at WISD. And there was a disaster drill. Yes, it was only a drill that took place at Weslaco ISD, and it was on Saturday, and you may have heard some sirens and some fire trucks near Weslaco High School. This was all part of a drill to test the city of Weslaco's emergency preparedness in case there is a major disaster. Emergency crews from Donna and Mercedes also took part in the drill. Students, teachers, and staff also volunteered to make the drill as realistic as possible. And Mike, I know that you were there. You had to cover this story for K-West. What was everything like out there?
Oh, Carlos, it was unbelievable. Vinny, Barry, and I were there. And, the purpose of this is to prepare everyone for an emergency, should there be one. Law enforcement, emergency management, and the Red Cross were some of the responders on hand. And what they basically did is they had
realistic to me.
Absolutely, it was very real, Carlos. It was so real that I even hesitated to post pictures on our social media website because I didn't want people to get the impression that there was a real emergency out there. And these students and faculty and parents, volunteers did an outstanding job. And what they basically had was a truck pretend that it slammed into a building, and the science building, and where all the chemical lines, well, they're in the science building, so that causes a lot of smoke, that causes a lot of injuries, and I mean, it was just a chaotic scene. It was just so real and so wonderful to experience.
Yeah, and this is something that is necessary, not only for the city of Weslaco, the emergency crews, EMT was out there, the fire department was out there. I think they even had the chopper out there, going out there like they were going to pick up some victims. But also it's good preparedness for the Weslaco School District as well to take part in something like this. I know the principal of Weslaco High School, Yvette Morales, was out there. All the administrators were out there. So it's good to see, and because you never know what can happen. Unfortunately, we live in a time where, a disaster can take place. It's good to see that our administrators are out there just in case something like this happens. Yes, there's still the old fire drills where you go out to the playground, but it's also good to go through a little drill like this just in case something happens in the future. All right, let's move on now to our next headline in Special Olympics. Bobby Lackey Stadium here in Weslaco ISD is constantly hosting events, and we had the Meet of Champs there, the district track meet, the area track meet. Well, this past Saturday, we hosted the Special Olympics. It all started with the opening ceremony where students from all over the valley participated in the lighting of the torch, and also a nice welcome from administrators. There was plenty of running events, and also other events took place. The state Special Olympics will take place in Arlington, and that will be held later this year in Arlington. And I know our basketball team already qualified for that event. Weslaco is glad to host this event for the 5th straight year. Here is Superintendent of Schools, Dr. Priscilla Canales.
We're honored to bring the community of Region 1 together. And as I say Region 1, it's bringing the community together as one. So Weslaco ISD is honored. Today, Weslaco ISD is everyone's home, and we celebrate that.
It was a special event just for our Special Olympians there in Weslaco. It was good just to have the spotlight on them. And also thank you to all the volunteers, to all the teachers and administrators that were out there to make this event special for them.
Absolutely. I mean, we had volunteers that were there. There were hundreds of them. We had different businesses out there and organizations also on hand for a helping hand. Administration was there. I mean, we had athletes from Rio Hondo, from the Sharyland area. I mean, it was just great to see Ed Calciosa, our neighboring friends. It was great to see different schools out there, and this is just a day that's dedicated to all the Special Olympians, and it's just, they deserve this, Carlos, and, they got medals, and I mean, it was just, everybody was just so happy to be there. They had like softball event. They had, as our viewers saw, they also had like the long jump, and they had like little elementary students throw like the little rings, and so it was a lot of fun. It was great to have it, and as you mentioned, 5th year in a row that Weslaco ISD has hosted the event.
That's right, and good luck to the basketball team from Weslaco ISD. Some students from Weslaco East and Weslaco High School will be going on to the basketball tournament, which will take place in Arlington later this year. All right, one of the coolest programs that we have here at Weslaco ISD are the CATE programs. And so to spread awareness of what we have to offer our kids, students from 5th grade have been touring the CATE facilities. Why wait until high school to find out what is available, right, Mike? Students are now thinking about their careers and what they want to study in college at an earlier age. There are so many great programs. It's not just trades, but they also learn a lot of skills that they can use anywhere or even for a personal benefit. Some of the programs are cosmetology, culinary arts, body shop, my favorite, video editing.
And this is the first year, Carlos, that 5th graders were invited to this tour. Usually in, the past couple of years, we bring in the 8th graders and they get the exact same tour, and the teachers show them the exact same, programming and everything. But the 5th graders, as our viewers saw earlier, did you see their eyes, the way they opened up? They got so excited about this, and they have 3 years or even 4 to think about, this is something I would like to do, from cooking to maybe cosmetology, if they're into cutting hair, or they're into, painting nails and things like that, or maybe they're into the criminal justice program, where, as you saw right now, like they practice with the fire department, and they've had practice shooting, things like that. It was a lot of fun. I think these students benefited from this tour. I'm sure they went home and told mom and dad what they did. And I mean, parents, listen to these students, because right now is a time to dream, and if they see something that they're interested in, go for it.
Yeah, I think that, the reason why I said I like the video editing, the culinary is also something that's very, very impressive, because they come out there with these great skills, cooking skills. But I think the video editing class taught by Gabe Cruz over there at the CATE department does a fantastic job. The kids are going to get out of there. They're going to learn how to use the camera. They're going to learn how to edit. And this is for projects they can use in high school and in college. PowerPoint presentation, you want to add a little bit of video to that, you already have those skills. So it's more than just something that in the future you're going to use, or you're going to use, go to college in a career, but also some skills that you can use in college as well. All right, now Saturday is a big day for art students here in Weslaco. Not only for students here in Weslaco, but for those in the district, the Congressional District of Filemon Vela. At the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Corporation building, the Congressional Art Competition will take place. Students from WISD will be competing along with other students from Vela's district for a chance to have their art on display in Washington, D.C. Each congressman from across the nation chooses a piece of art from one high school student in their district to show in D.C. On Saturday, artwork from Congressman Vela's district will be on display, and a judge from UTRGV's art department will choose a first place, a second place, a third place, and a best of show grand prize winner. Not only will the student have the honor of showing their artwork in D.C., they will also be awarded a $3,000 scholarship, and they also get a trip to Washington, D.C. It's going to be paid for, and they get to take along one parent. So it's a trip for two that got to go to D.C. for a special ceremony.
In charge of all this is James Miller. He is a well-known art teacher that's worked in our school district for a number of years. I had a chance to meet him in my years working in the Mid-Valley Turncrier. Terrific guy, a very, very talented artist, and our students are in great hands with this man, Carlos, and I look forward to see how these students perform, and it should be great.
Yeah, the department here in West Local ISD is just a thriving department. We have students that compete district-wide, and I like it because it's academic art. So you start off with, district competition, area competition, regional. You could even go all the way to state. And we even have kids also that are involved in art competition at the Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show. And that's for all students, not just our high school students, but also those that are in elementary. And they also, elementary, middle school. And if you ever go to the Rio Grande Valley Livestock Show, go to the event center, and that's where they have the art displays from kids from all over the Rio Grande Valley. And I know our kids that are heavily involved in that here at WISD. And also at the PAC. If you ever go to the PAC and you go to a play there or to an event there, we also have sometimes we'll have art on display at the PAC. Good luck to those kids on Saturday. All right, let's move on to sports now, where you are taking a look at Bobby Lackey Stadium. Football practice is taking place. We're in the middle of May. It's May 3rd today, but yeah, football practice is already taking place. We'll talk more about that. But first, let's start off with some track stories. Because on Saturday, or let's say May 11th, I should say, Austin will be hosting the big track event, and Brianna Gonzalez, who won the regional championship, will be competing in the discus. The Weslaco Lady Panther threw 122 feet 11 inches to win gold in San Antonio.
Brianna finished first place, Carlos, as a regional champ. She enters ranked about 5th or 6th. I had a chance to talk to head coach Pablo Armaguer, and he said that she does have the capability to medal, so the gap isn't too big. We're looking forward to see how she does.
I know you saw some video right now of John Zapata from Weslaco High School. He will also be competing at the state meet. John Zapata, who's just a junior, he picked up a silver medal at the regional competition, and he won the area championship by jumping 15 feet at the area meet. He jumped 14.6 over at the regional meet. He picked up a silver medal. He's also moving on to the state competition.
15 feet is a season's best, Carlos, he's done this year. He's going to need to clear a little bit higher than that to have a chance to medal, but only a junior. It's going to be a great experience for him to be there.
Now, our best chance, there's John Zapata one more time, and you'll see him. This is actually his jump at 15 feet at the area competition, and once again, he finished 14.6 at the regional competition. That was the area meet. This is Joe Solis. This is our best shot right here, bringing home the gold, because Joe Solis in the wheelchair division will compete in the 100-meter race and the 400-meter race. He won first place in both events at the regional meet, and this will be Joe's 3rd straight year to state competition. I know last year in the 100 and the 400, he brought home the silver. This year, he wants to bring home the gold.
And you know what? It's going to be a great summer for him as well, because he's going to participate in the U.S. Paralympic National Juniors Track and Field Championship in July at Los Angeles. If he qualifies, he moves on to the Paralympic World Juniors in Switzerland.
Wow.
Against the best of the world. So.
Yep. And once you start competing with those national teams, you know you're pretty good, because those national teams, that's like a step below the Olympic team. Let's move on to softball now, where the Lady Panthers are getting ready for their area round matchup against San Antonio Southwest. The Lady Panthers swept PSG Memorial 2-0 to advance to the second round. That series was highlighted by a 2-run home run by sophomore Audrey Escamilla. The Lady Panthers are trying to return to the state tournament. They have to win 4 more series to get there. The series versus San Antonio Southwest will be live on the WISD webpage. That series will begin Friday. There's a home run by Audrey Escamilla, by the way. That series will begin Friday at, 8 o'clock, I believe. And then there is also another game. Is it 8 o'clock, guys?
I believe so.
5 o'clock. Okay, it's a 5 o'clock game. And then on the following day, Saturday, there's going to be another game. That'll be game 2. That game is also at 5 o'clock. If there's a game 3 that is necessary, all 3 of those games will be on the webpage.
Still a long way to go to state. However, these girls are having great practices. They are anxious to play against an opponent from outside the valley. And, it's going to come down to routine plays on defense, speed on offense. These girls do an outstanding job with the bats on offense, using their speed. And so, we'll see how it goes. Carlos' best of 3 series starts.
San Antonio Southwest is a good team. I know they played some Valley teams. I know they beat San Benito in a tournament earlier this year. They lost to New Braunfels Canyon, which is the team that West Local beat last year to make it to the state tournament. So it's going to be a good matchup. I'll be watching. that game live on WISD. Terry Byler will be bringing the call from Laredo. In baseball, the Weslaco Panthers, they're in a big game. They're in a winner-take-all competition against PSJA, the Bears. Now, that sounds exciting, just a one-game winner-take-all. The Bears were the District 31 6A champs. Weslaco was the 4th seed. They finished the regular season with a 7-7 district record. The Bears, this is going to be a tough opponent for Weslaco because the Bears have only lost 3 games all season. They were 13-1 in district, but we like the chances of the Panthers, don't we, Mike?
Anything can happen in a one-game series. It's going to be a winner-take-all, as you mentioned. And, I mean, Coach Sedena won the coin toss. There was just one coin toss. Whoever won it got to choose the site, the day. They got to choose. Yeah. They got to choose it all. And, yes, we're going to have it here Friday night. It's going to be exciting. This is the 12th consecutive year that the Panthers have clinched a playoff spot. And so these guys know what it takes to get to the next level, to advance to the area around. And then you have a veteran coach like Eddie Sedena who's been there and done that. And one of the things he talked to me about was that they feel so good that they don't have to play at PSGA. If they would have had to play the best of 2 out of 3, they would have had to at least play one game there, where it's a field that they're not used to. Half of the field is turf and the other half is grass. They have not played one single game this year on turf. So I know in the years past they would have to practice at Bobby Lackey Stadium, but Coach Sedena told me, he goes, Mike, that field is different because they were one of the first programs in the Valley to get turf. And so it's a different kind of turf compared to what other districts have today. So it usually takes about 3 or 4 innings to get adjusted to that turf. He goes, we don't have to worry about that this year. So it's going to be awesome. It's going to be fun.
Game taking place at Weslaco High School. Football season is here. Isn't that right, Mike Gonzalez?
It is, and it was great to be out at Bobby Lackey Stadium yesterday for spring football practice. The program hasn't had spring football in many, many years. I'll go on a limb and say this is probably their first spring practice, first camp this decade. And so something that stood out to me, obviously, was, our viewers see here, is the passing. We're going to see more passing, and so as you see there, the coach is working with the receivers and. They worked on technique. They worked on form. They worked on reads. Coach Salinas, our new head coach, was very, very hands-on. Everybody was getting after it. He was telling everybody, let's go, let's go. They had music playing over the scoreboard. The receivers did a great job with the football, Carlos. A few jobs here and there, but, I mean, it's something they're going to have to get used to.
Can't be dropping the football, guys.
Absolutely.
Don't drop the ball.
Exactly. But we had a chance to talk to Coach Salinas briefly, and this is what he had to say.
I think we got to work on fundamentals. I think our kids got to get used to us, and we got to get used to our kids and make sure that we find the right guys to get in the right spots. And it's going to take us a little time, but we're going to continue to evaluate and then just try to develop the young men that we have.
A lot more passing, a lot more catching of the football. And it could be a little bit difficult for some of these kids. We all grow up throwing the football in the backyard and all that, but most of these kids come from a system where they're running with the football. They run the ball, they block also as well in this offense that we had here for the past 12 years. But I would say, this is a program where we get to share our opinion, right, Mike?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So my advice, for these players out there and for their dads, if they're going to be out there and you're going to be passing the football, you're going to be catching the football, you're going to have to do a little bit extra work. I've been covering sports in the Rio Grande Valley for a long time, and so have you, Mike.
Yes.
And I've always noticed that the programs and the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, the ones that are successful, they do have natural ability, God-given ability, but also they work extra. They're working extra after practice. They're working on Saturdays. They're working on Sundays. They're out there doing all the little extra work. They also work during spring break. And, Shea Patterson was famous Sunday night in the rain. Perfect opportunity to go out there and work on his game. Zach Gomez from Mercedes, great quarterback, covering Mercedes for a few years before I was working here at KWISD. He was always out there working in the morning or during spring break, whatever. I wrote an article one time. He was out there working with his wide receivers. You only get a couple of hours of practice with your coaches. After that, you're going to have to go out there and work a little bit on your own just to get some more reps in.
Absolutely. And let's throw in Coy Detmer, who visited Wesco High School last month to talk to our students and parents. And that he comes from a football family. So he was tossing a football probably since he was 3 years old. But, Carlos, Carlos, it boils down to sacrifice. These students, these athletes are going to need to put in the work over the summer. Now that we're doing spring football in May, once the camp is over, they need to make sure to put in all their work over the summer, get that chemistry down. Chances are they're going to participate on 7-on-7. That's nice and dandy, but guess what? So are a lot of other programs. It's what you do. You want to work harder than the other programs, and that's what puts you over the edge.
And I know you said it was a sacrifice, but these are receivers and quarterbacks. These are skilled position. It's fun to go out there, throw the ball around, but just kind of work on it a little bit more. That's just something coming from some information coming from an old sports reporter here. All right, let's move on now to Weslaco Famous, and we like to look in the archives, look at history, look at the old yearbooks to see who was out there that was actually famous. We all know about Bobby Lackey and what his career, Harlan Block, also Pat Hingle. We've talked a little bit about him, who was a famous actor and was a graduate from Weslaco High School. Who else is out there, Mike? Who are we looking at this week for Weslaco Famous?
Oh, yeah, boy, did we find a great former Weslaco Panther, Carlos. Ever heard of Tommy Barker? He was a 1972 Weslaco High School graduate, born and raised in Harlingen, but came through our school system. He's the whole family is well known historically. His sister Rochelle was a star athlete as a track star. I think still has the valley record for the 100 meters. Tommy was a standout athlete in track and basketball, all-state in both. Was a member of the District 28 4A championship in his junior year, which would be in 1971. Was a terrific college player who played for several schools, who was named National Junior College Player of the Year at Southern Idaho University. He went on to the University of Hawaii, where he became a star there. And then he was drafted by the Atlanta Hawks in the 1976 NBA draft. Parker played 59 games where he averaged 8 points and hauled down 401 total rebounds. He also played for the Boston Celtics under 2 separate 10-day contracts and scored 53 points. I mean, if he could dress up for the Boston Celtics for even one game, that's an honor. And Barker would also dress up for the New York Knicks and the Houston Rockets. His most success was with the Eastern League, which is the minor league of the NBA in those days, where he averaged 26 points, 20 rebounds for the Jersey Shore Bullets. And then in 2015, Barker was inducted into the Rio Grande Valley Sports Hall of Fame, an organization that I myself, Carlos, am proud to be part of and serve.
So Tommy Barker from Weslaco High School was at Southern Idaho. Then he transferred to Hawaii, played for the Atlanta Hawks and the Boston Celtics, and he's from Weslaco High School. Wow, that's an amazing story. And I know that Bruce Barker, he's got a brother.
Yes.
Bruce Barker, from what I understand, was an outstanding football player. And then also Rochelle Barker, like you talked about her still owning the record in the 100. She was also on the world track teams, and she was a track star at TW up in the North Texas area. So good to recognize Tommy Barker. All right, let's move on now to extracurricular activities. Who's doing what? Who's winning? And where are they going? Mike Gonzalez, you have that story.
All right, Carlos, Weslaco ISD, another terrific month. Let's start with some Weslaco High School students. Congratulations. They were awarded first place at the Skills USA State Competition on April the 9th in Corpus Christi. These students are part of the Criminal Justice Club as emergency responders, where they received intense training throughout the school year across the community. All their hard work and dedication at the Weslaco Fire Department has paid off. Great job, team. Moving on to the FCCLA, Weslaco High School and Family Career and Community Leaders of America members Liana Sanchez and Monique De La O and Anthony Garza competed at the State Family Career and Community Leaders of America State Leadership Conference in Dallas. These students earned first place for their Environmental Ambassadors Project. They will now represent WHS and the state of Texas at the National Leadership Conference in July at Nashville, Tennessee. Good luck to them. Next, we move to Weslaco East UIL county team, which competed at the UIL Academic State Meet on April 22nd and earned third place. The squad in 2017 as district and regional champions. Congratulations on a terrific year. Hats off to 5 Weslaco ISD students who took their operational practical exam on April 20th, passed, and are now officially licensed cosmetologists. These students will be able to obtain a job in a salon spa, earning a starting annual salary of $21,600 straight out of high school. Now I know where to go for a free haircut. Finally, let's congratulate Weslaco High School's cell extraction team, who won second place in the law enforcement state competition held in El Paso. These students are trained as corrections officers tasked with responding to incidents, riots, cell extractions, mass searches, or disturbances in prisons or jails, possibly involving uncooperative or violent inmates. The scholars will all have aspirations of joining the criminal justice systems, where they can become professionals varying from a police officer, lawyer, or judge. Congratulations to all students, athletes, teachers, and coaches for all their accomplishments. Carlos, back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Mike, and congratulations to all those students. There's going to be plenty of more here on KWS. We'll have more live events as well. Remember, on Friday and Saturday, we have Weslaco versus San Antonio Southwest, the softball game. So look for that live on the WISD webpage, also on YouTube. Tonight, there's a big basketball game, San Antonio versus Houston. Mike, who do you got?
Let's see if the Spurs bounce back. I'm rooting for the Rockets, though. I'm a Lakers fan, so anyway.
We'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens. Should be a great series, though. It's going to go down to Game 7, I think.
All right. Yeah, the Spurs are blowing out in Game 1. We'll see what happens tonight. Just talking a little bit off subject here in West ISD. For Mike Gonzalez, I'm Carlos Robledo. We'll see you guys next time on WISD Live.